I've got some good news and some bad news. Well, I've actually got, if you've been watching this channel a while, I've got two bits of good news and a bit bad news, and I'm hoping the big juicy bit of good news, it's more of a theory, if I'm honest, more of a theory about a signing. You'll know, actually, have read the title of the video. I'm hoping that will offset the bad news. The small bit of good news, I've been watching this channel for a while, is I'm really pleased and delighted to announce that I found my muff. After quite a long time, as you'll remember, I lost my muff, which wasn't good at all. And I found it, and it's been in here all along. You might recognise this little thing. Some people think it's a closed tag. I'll click it on there. It's a microphone. It's not a closed tag. The muff goes on the mic. Lucky Mike. Anyway, I found it. That's good news. The bad news is that I'm afraid the Shaqiri deal has fallen through. Absolutely gutted about this, as I felt he could have made a real difference to us. First heard about this deal yesterday on a video. Someone mentioned it on a video. I thought, oh, he's good. You know, he's a bit part player for Liverpool. We might be able to get him. Apparently, David Moyes took too much time. Went to try and go in for a final bid. Didn't have enough money. David Sullivan said to David Moyes, I'll give you £5 a curly whirly, but I won't deal with that agent because he's not my agent. Deal fell through. No Shaqiri. Gutted. The good news, or the good theory, should I say, is that I don't know why. I think we're going to sign Jesse Lingard. I do. I'll tell you my theory, which probably doesn't add up, but why not? There's a few things, actually, to be honest with you, and it was really when I was listening to Simon Jordan on the radio talking about Jesse Lingard, and Jordan was saying that he was surprised that West Ham hadn't gone all out to sign Jesse Lingard. And offered whatever 25 million. I think Martin Keough might have mentioned 25 million. Doesn't matter. He was saying, I'm surprised West Ham have gone all out to sign Lingard. And then he just basically surmised Lingard's situation really, really quickly. And I sort of thought about it. I thought, well, hold on a second. There's a little bit more detail there. But I felt that he'd assessed his situation really well. And the more I assessed Lingard's situation, the more I just couldn't see a reason for him staying at Manchester United. There's this opinion that it doesn't matter if Man United sell now or they sell in January. They'll get money for him. Whatever. And I understand that. But Man United aren't impervious to losing money, and they're in an awful lot of debt. And I'm not entirely sure that they are going to offer him a new contract, and certainly not a bumper new contract that he might want. And I think even for Manchester United's taste, a player who really is not featuring in the first team on 100 grand a week or something like that might be a little bit rich for them, particularly when I think they possibly want to bring another player in anyway. And it sort of cast me back to a video that I did some time ago, which was about the amount of play time that Jesse Lingard had. If you remember, I did a video basically saying that Jesse Lingard didn't have a lot of miles on the clock. And I compared him to some other players who, sort of England players and players of a similar age, and how many games they played in their career. And I remember using Harry Kane as one. There was a number of players I used as an example who were similar age to him. And he was about 130 games down on where he should be. For an England international, and I'd say that as someone, what's he got? 15, 20, 25 caps for England? He's played for England plenty of times. He should have about 120, 130 more appearances. And then you look at that, and that was his reasoning for leaving Manchester United and coming to West Ham. I think it was twofold. I think he wanted to play first team football, and then I think he wanted to get back into the England squad. Both of those things happened. He didn't make the final cut, unfortunately, for the Euros. But, that was nothing to do with West Ham. Basically, he wouldn't have even been in with a shout. He wouldn't have played in the warm-up games. None of it would have happened if he'd have stayed at Man United. He wasn't getting picked. It was actually going to West Ham that brought him back into Gareth Southgate's consciousness. And also, there was that story doing the rounds that Southgate had said that he thought it was a good idea for Lingard to go to West Ham. I think I might have this right. I think Southgate might have advised Lingard to go to West Ham. Well, that's another sort of feather in the cap for us as well. Now, if he's going to get back into that team, back into that England squad, he ain't going to do so just playing intermittently for Man United. He's not. He's basically being a substitute for Man United is not going to cut it. Particularly not now Grealish has gone to Man City. Did you see his goal, by the way? A first goal was a first goal, I guess, and he'll score a lot of skillful goals, I'm sure. But yeah, that was not the most skillful goal you've seen in the world. But with Jack Grealish going to City, Southgate is going to be, I think, also under more pressure, or at least more inclined to select Grealish. Foden's only getting better, isn't he? And you know, Sancho didn't start many games. Did he start one in the Euros? Again, you'd like to think him playing for Man United, he's going to be in Southgate's awareness a lot more. My point being, there's going to be a lot of competition for places. Maddison, if he has a good season, so on and so forth. I think Jesse needs to move again to get back into that England fold, which we know he likes. And also, when I looked at the number of games he's played, he's 28 now. He can't afford another season of not playing games. Because that's the suggestion. The suggestion is that actually Jesse's okay. Whatever Jesse does is fine. Because Jesse can see out the next year and just leave on a free. I get that. I would get that if he was 23. I'd get that if he was 24, maybe even 25. But it means that by the time he finishes that contract, he's halfway to his 30th birthday. It was 29 and a half. That's a lot of chunk to miss. I mean, you're talking about peak years as well. And as I've said before, I do think Jesse Lingard will look back on his career. And if he's sat in the Sky Studios when he's, whatever, on a Soccer Saturday panel or whatever, and they say to him, what was the best period you ever had as a player? When was your hottest streak of form? I do think he'll turn around and say, oh, it was that point at West Ham. I was on fire then. Which, again, feeds into the suggestion that these are his peak years. This is it, right? 28, 29. This is when he's going to be at his absolute best. So I'm pretty sure he'll be aware of that. I'm pretty sure he's going to want to play. I do think if he misses this next year, I think he slips out of Gareth Southgate's consciousness almost completely. I think if he then starts approaching he's in his 29, 30, it's going to be really hard for him to get back in. So I think he's got to stay there. He's got to stay relevant, would be the way to say it. And then I look at our reluctance to spend the money yet. See, the more I look at this Pereira deal, we could have got Pereira. I mean, no doubt about that. Pereira went to Saudi Arabia for a fee we could have afforded. There's no doubt about it. I don't know what it was in the end. It was south of 15 million. I was surprised he went there. I've got to be honest with you. He spoke about life-changing money, but the life-changing money was 70 grand a week. Now, there's no way we wouldn't pay that. We have so much evidence at West Ham suggests we'll pay someone 70 grand a week. We pay people more than that who don't deserve it. If David Moyes really wanted Pereira, we could have. He's one of the players we could have afforded. I don't think we could have afforded Buendia. Buendia was 40 million. I just don't think we got that sort of money. I don't think we'll spend that sort of money. But the fact he didn't go for him indicated he wasn't interested. The fact that nobody went for Pereira does make me wonder if there was something else going on that we don't know about, by the way. But again, we have this holding out situation where the more I look at it, I think, and I've thought it for some time, is David Moyes holding out for Lingard? Now, I think it's a dangerous game. I really do. Because if you don't get him, you're sort of screwed, aren't you, really? And if we do get him, David Moyes looks quite canny. He looks quite smart, really, because it's a case of, well, I got the player that I wanted all along, and it sort of worked out. And if you get a central defender as well, and the team plays well, then he can turn around and say, well, my business was good, I did well. I do think it's a risky policy, and because of a risky policy, I don't honestly believe he would go through all that without having some sort of indication from the player that he's interested, he wants to come. And we discussed this before, that was something Andy Walsh had said, wasn't it? How can we have a player for that length of time at the club and not know whether he wants to come or not? It's true, it's a true comment, but it was all based on the assumption that we don't know. Maybe we just do. Now, I don't understand what the benefit is of him going back to Man United and spending loads of time there. If we wanted him, we knew we wanted him. Why didn't we just do the deal straight away? But maybe there was something going on there. Maybe, I don't know, maybe there was a reason to go back to Man United. Maybe he needs to go back there and see how the land was and what was going to happen. But I was far from impressed with Solskjaer's comments the other day. It was 2 days ago. Actually, say far from impressed with his comments. I don't care about his comments, but if I was Jesse Lingard, I would have listened to those comments and thought, okay, well, this is this is not particularly good here. This doesn't sound particularly promising for me. I'm not sure how much I'm going to feature. I think we're signing him. I do. I really do. The more it goes on, the more there's a lack of activity. I think we're doing the Lingard signing. I'm not sure how creative it will be or how creative it needs to be. I'm not sure what the benefit is. A couple of people suggested us loaning him for 6 months and then making it all permanent in January. I'm not sure what the benefit is there for us or Man United or anybody else, really. I think if it happens, it's going to be, there won't be a loan deal. It will just be a purchase. And I think it'll be a good purchase. And I think it's easy to forget what he brought. I don't just mean in terms of the goals, but his charisma and everything on the training ground and in the dressing room. He was very, very well liked, wasn't he? However, there was one comment which I'll leave you with, which really had me a little bit worried. I'll tell you what I might be worried about. I might be worried about that actually we're so fixated on getting Lingard that we might think, hold on, we will leave it till January, put more pressure on Man United, and then at that point, he's only got 6 months yet left to run on his contract. We're in a better bargaining position. I hope we don't. I hope we just do the deal. But what would we do for the 6 months running up to that, if that's what we were going to do? Well, there's a comment that David Moyes made, and I just find this a little bit dangerous. Let me read it to you. It's about Mark Noble. He said about Mark Noble, he said, we're already starting to use Mark in other roles behind the scenes. But he's going to have a massive part to play in the period leading up to Christmas particularly, where we will need lots of players for lots of extra games. I hope that Mark will be in good condition and fit, and so on. It's the first bit. He's going to be a massive part to play in the period leading up to Christmas. That worried me. So why just then? Why would you use that language? Language always interests me. Why would you use that language? Why would you not just say he's going to have a really big part to play for us this season? Because we've got lots of games, lots of additional games to play. He's going to have a big part to play for us in the build-up to Christmas. I don't know. Is that because actually, at Christmas time, he's one of Father Christmas's helpers or something like that, and he's gonna be busy after Christmas? I don't know. And in fact, you could almost suggest that after Christmas he'd be more needed because you got the African Cup of Nations, but he didn't say that in the build up to Christmas, which just makes me wonder. And it feeds back into what might happen with Jesse Lingard's contract situation. It feeds back into what might happen with the new director of football, Rob Newman, which is, we may be waiting until January to make some permanent signings. And actually, you look at it, I do think we're signing Jesse Lingard. I really do. I'm just not entirely sure whether we're signing him now or we're signing him in January.